Tonight, I'm going to give you a flashback to high school. It is senior picture day. I have combed my hair obsessively. I am wearing a white shirt to make my skin look less pale by comparison because you can see what happens when I don't. I can't do anything about my acne. I just have to hope that the photography studio has an airbrush artist that can somehow make my face look less like it has been attacked by a swarm of killer bees. I'm practicing my smile. Nope. Well, that's terrifying. Wait a minute, I think we're onto something. Yes, that feels like an expression a human being would use. I'm watching the people in line ahead of me. Anytime it's a girl having her picture taken, the photographer says, "Say boys." Anytime it's a boy having his picture taken, the photographer says, "Say girls." I see this happen over and over again. Finally, it's my turn in front of the camera. I take my position, I ready my smile, and the photographer looks at me and says, "Say money." Here's the thing. I know I'm not attractive, all right? I've known it for as long as I can remember. In fact, I've probably known it even longer than that. I just can't, remember. Had I been called ugly before? Yes, of course. Remember, this is high school. Being insulted by your classmates is a given. But this was the first time my appearance had been insulted by an adult. And make no mistake, that's exactly what it was, an insult. This person looked at me and said, "This guy can't get a girl. Probably can't get a guy either. His only chance is money. He's going to have to hope that he earns enough cash to make up for the human contact he is so clearly unworthy of." I try not to wish ill on other people. It's not good for the soul. Having said that, if you were to tell me that photographer has been through like 15 divorces and now has to sell their bodily fluids just to earn enough cash to buy stale bread to eat, I'd be okay with that. Does that make me a bad person? Yes, absolutely. But here's another thing. I graduated high school literally decades ago. There are still some mornings when I'm getting ready for work. I will shower, shave, brush my teeth, comb my hair, put on nice clothes, and I will look at myself in the mirror and I will hear the echo of "Say money." And any self-esteem I had built up for that day will crumble like a child's sandcastle in the face of a tsunami. I'm telling you this story for two reasons. One, enough time has passed, I'm able to see the funny in the situation now. That's one of the joys of humor. Tragedy plus time equals comedy. Maybe. You can decide whether this is funny enough to qualify. The other reason is to ask, nay, to beg, that if you are taking someone's picture and you want them to smile, just ask them to smile. Don't try and pull these psychological tricks that may cause damage for years to come, because if you do that, you may end up having to sell your bodily fluids to buy stale bread to eat. Nobody wants that now, do they? In case you're wondering, yes, I am still single. Is it because of my appearance? Partly. See, if you've ever seen me up here before, or if you've seen any of my videos, you know some of the ridiculous stuff I come up with. Trust me, it's not any better when I'm home alone. There is not a woman my age on the planet that has been through the trials and tribulations of life, become a better, stronger, smarter person that's going to want to deal with my lunacy 24/7. She's just not out there. So I've decided I'm just going to have to date women that are much, much younger than I am. I know that sounds creepy, but hear me out. I figure I have to date someone like early 20s, just so our maturity levels will somewhat match up. And then hopefully, as we grow older together, she will drag me along with her. And then I will become a more responsible adult. Either that or she'll make me disappear under mysterious circumstances. I mean, not because I'm cruel, not because I'm abusive. This isn't a goodbye Earl situation. Oh no, it's just because I know how weird and annoying I can be. Give you an example. This past summer, I had to do some shopping. So I came out of the store, and I placed the packages in the passenger pouch of my precious Pontiac before trying to leave the parking pavilion. I happened to look up, and I saw there was a bug on the outside of my windshield. Now, a normal person would handle the situation one of two ways. One, they would ignore the bug completely. Or two, they would tap on the wiper blades to try and knock the bug off the windshield and hopefully not smear it across the windshield, because I think we can all agree that's a bad way to go. I went for option 3. I started to obsess over the situation. I'm thinking to myself, that bug is not moving on the windshield, but it's on a car that is moving, and I've already taken it many bug miles from where it started. In fact, if that bug doesn't fly away soon, before too much longer, it's going to be so far away from where it began, it will never be able to find its way home. As soon as I thought that, I started to wonder, what kind of a home does a bug have? As soon as I thought that, I pictured a bunch of tiny bugs looking up to their mother, "Where's Papa?" As soon as I thought that, I couldn't take it anymore. So I pulled into an empty parking spot. That's right, I hadn't even gotten out of the parking lot yet. I didn't drive all the way back to the original parking space because that would have been crazy. And I get out of my car, and I try and swat the bug away from the windshield. But this bug is slow, either mentally or physically, and instead of flying away, it just slides down to the bottom of the windshield. Fun fact, on a bright, sunshiny, summery day, that's the hottest part of the car. I have failed to help this bug, instead I'm inadvertently torturing it with heat. So I try and swat the bug away again, but this time I only succeed in knocking it to the other side of the windshield. Sweet Marie! So I start to walk around the outside of the car, and yes, I do realize how absolutely ridiculous this is while I'm doing it, but I can't stop myself. And also, it's not like this bug and I have a deep personal relationship. It's not like we grew up together. It's not like we hang out on the weekends. It's just a living creature that I don't want to see suffer. So I go over to the other side of the windshield, and I swat the bug away, and this time, finally, it does disappear. And there's a part of my brain that says, you really ought to follow it and make sure it gets home safe. But I took that part of my brain and I punched it right in its stupid face. Now remember how I said I can be weird and annoying and a maturity problem for women? I was alone when this happened. Imagine if my girlfriend was in the passenger seat, watching all this unfold. How do you think that would have gone? I would have swatted the bug away, looked through the windshield, smiled at her, just as I hear the clunk as every door locks at once. And then she starts to scooch over to the driver's seat, muttering to herself, "I can't believe I missed all the red flags, what's wrong with me?" Puts the car in gear, waves at me dismissively, and drives away, leaving me there all alone. All alone in a cold and barren wasteland. Frigid winds are ripping through my meager clothing. Didn't he say this was in the middle of summer? Just let go. If you ask questions, we're just going to be here longer. Having no choice, I started to trek through the harsh, unforgiving landscape, miles away from any civilization. I thought he said he was in a parking lot. Honestly, I stopped listening a while ago. Day after day, night after night, I made my way through the wild wilderness, a lonesome wanderer wandering lonesomely, subsisting on berries and stagnant pond water, which my digestive system rapidly told me was a bad idea. Eventually, weak and delirious from hunger and thirst and fatigue, I stumbled upon the hidden temple of Drakun Chala, within which was said to dwell untold wealth, unimaginable power, perhaps even the secret of eternal youth. But alas, once I entered the temple, I found it was filled with nothing but piles and piles of expired Giant Eagle coupons. Should we call someone? I mean, he's obviously not well. He needs help. No, I kind of want to see where he's going with this. Remember, honey, it's not our responsibility. Not our zoo, not our monkey. Eventually, I was found by the guardians of the temple, the Muppet people of Minnetonkan. They nursed me back to health, treated me as one of their own. They taught me all of their traditions, reaching back untold generations through the misty corridors of time, all the way to the dark ages of February 1998. They took me as one of their own. I could have stayed there. I could have even become their king, but I had to make my way back to the modern world. They told me that the journey would be long and treacherous, but I said I had to go. With weeping eyes, they bid me farewell, and pointed me to the bus stop about 50 feet outside the temple door. And that's how I got here tonight. So just remember, thank your ATA drivers. They get you where you're going safely, quickly, at a reasonable price. Imagine a woman wanting to put up with that. You can't. Your brain can't handle that kind of imagination. I do have one more thing to say, and this is just a real quick story. This is from earlier this week. I was at work, and a woman wanted me to do a minor repair for her. It was easy. It took about 30 seconds and done. As I'm handing it back to her, she looked at me and said, "You're the love of my life." Women, don't do that. Please, don't do that. All right? You had no idea how starved for affection some guys are. That happy little throwaway line she tossed out there, that could have had consequences. Like me following her home like a stray puppy. So just say thank you. Thank you covers it. And that's pretty much my public service announcement for tonight. That, and if you want someone to smile for a picture, just ask them to smile. I think that about covers it. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. Hope you have a lovely evening. Good night.
Hey. Oh. I look forward to that hug every single time. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Jason Allen.
Thank you.
I talk all over. Oh, we got some.